Hi, this is Clowntown, and today we're going to be looking at another Factorio speedrun breakdown. Today we're going to review an any percent run for version 17.66 from a guy named XenoCyber. You can catch him at twitch.tv/XenoCyber. A link to his channel as well as the original video is in the description below. Also, all the other ways to support me, my Twitter link, my Discord link, as well as a Patreon link. If you want to be a member of the OG Club, you can hit that. Hit up any of those. Also, you can catch me live at twitch.tv/Clowntown. Check out all the stuff in the description, as well as all the tools that I'll talk about today are all there for you. If you want to start speedrunning, as well as a link to speedrun.com/Factorio, you can see the leaderboard. Also, if you like this sort of thing, hit that like, subscribe button, leave me a comment and then below, and ask any question that you want to do, or you can catch me live at twitch.tv/Clowntown. Thanks for watching, and let's get into it. Today we're going to be looking at an any percent run for version 17.66 from a runner named XenoCyber. You can catch his link in the description below, as well as a link to the source video. He's going to be doing an any percent run. I believe he does a 3-hour, 4-minute run for this. It's a really great run. And he does some things that are very different from how I do it. We're going to be watching the video at twice the rate, and this video may need to be split up into a couple parts, and I'll give commentary as we go. So let's hit the button and get started. So he's put the map exchange string in. You can also find that in the description below. He's been playing the same map as of late. And he's going to hit the button here in just a second. He's got his splits up there, and you'll see his run is very, very fast. His previous best up until today was 3 hours and 11 minutes. But he's going to get started. He's got a really good map with a lot of good coal rocks on it. They're not as close together as the one that I play on, but they're near enough to where he can get a really great start. Coal rocks are a very, very important part to getting started quickly. Of course, with biters on, you have to worry about coal rocks and trees because of pollution. There's a balance there between a quick start versus the number of versus the amount of desert you have, because coal rocks don't generally appear in the really green areas. So you'll see this start up very commonly. Go grab stone, start to hit a bunch of stone. Now watch, he does what many other speedrunners do. And he will feed individual pieces. He won't feed half stacks or even stacks into this initial iron. I think he's going to build 10 iron initially. Now his coal rocks are not right next to his starting area. So he's going to run up here, and I think he's going to get 4 before he runs back. There's a second one, 3, and I think he's going to grab that big one. I generally play with decoratives off so that it doesn't draw my eye to a coal rock that really isn't there. Those rocks the rocks that are not coal rocks tend to distract me. So he's gonna get his burner started and then run. And there, I think he did just a 1s and 2s to get him started. And he looks like he's got 7. He's got a couple more coal rocks. He's gonna get down here, 1 and 2. Oh no, it's not a coal rock. Just some stone to get started, also very helpful. That looks like a coal rock, but it's not. Those give 20 stone, which is 4 furnaces. The coal rocks give 37 stone and 37 coal, which is 7 furnaces if you can get a couple more of those. So there, he's got 8 iron only. And now here, I believe it's going to be 16 coal burners, and you see this very commonly where self-feeding burner miners will feed each other coal, and see he'll snake them around. There's 12 plus another 4, so there's his 16. So now he's got 16 stacks of coal if he lets it go to infinite amount of time. He's still going to continue to build Burner City. He's got to get some copper down next. And there's 6 copper, pretty common. That's like one of my starts, even though I do 1 initially and then 5. I don't typically put down 5 at once. And here, this is really good compared to my map. His stone is very, very close. So the map that I've been running, his stone is very, very close. That's a big advantage to be able to go cook stone. The alternative is that you have to smash rocks very early on and find it all in rocks to get this going, which is a good, which he has a good number of rocks. But having stone nearby, he can kind of delay the stone getting started on stone and kind of go visit back there every time, doing a little measuring to when his first iron line is going to go up. He does something very interesting. So he's already made the lab before power, and he's got 5. There's the 10th. 10 red science potions being thrown down. Now he'll throw down his 24 initial iron line. He'll go chop some of these trees. I assume that he's chopping these trees because there's going to be oil or some water coming through here. There's a lot more trees back nearer to him, but I think there's going to be some part of the base that needs to come through here. So you do have to do a bunch of chopping early in the run. So I'm assuming he's chopping here for a reason rather than just staying with the trees nearby. But we'll see. He's got his first miners being produced, and look what's on his hotbar. This is very common also. He'll keep a piece of coal on his hotbar so you can see how much coal inventory you have. So the problem with feeding 1s and 2s is that a lot of times they'll empty out, and you got to run back there and hand feed them. So he's got another little rock that he puts everything nearby, and he's going to go get power. Not very many speedrunners do an initial power like this and put a split on there. They all do this sort of power in various forms, but not a lot of them track it with a split. And he's put 3 stacks of 50. Now, notice he did not put, it's not on coal, and he didn't put a miner down there, so he's going to have to come hand feed that, which is one of the dangers. On the map that I've been playing, is I put the power on top of coal, so I can just plunk a miner right down in the ground, and it automatically kind of self-feeds itself. And the only way to run out of power is to outbuild it, rather than just kind of maybe if you do it this way, the disadvantage is the advantage is you're not covering up any coal. The disadvantage is that you're not that you have to run back there and feed it every once in a while. So here he's struggling because he's got doesn't have the belts made that he needed. Just going to take and do some replenish in there and hand feed. This is really smart. The first time you do that, you're going to want to hand feed a lot of that, and he's just making a quick iron line. And now here is the intermediates. Super important to get a good start by doing intermediates. If you right-click to handcraft something, your inventory will very, very much slow down because you're making those coils and those gears. If you can throw those off and even hand feed them, you'll speed yourself up for the cost of 2 assemblers, 1 for coal, 1 for iron. And I find this one interesting. He's making an iron line, but he's really not going to put any output inserters on this line for a while. You'll see what I mean. This is just for him to hand pick up more iron and handcraft everything, which is good because he delays tooling for a long time. What I mean by tooling is things to build your base, such as miners, inserters, and power poles, that sort of stuff. He delays that quite a bit, and so it's good to have a lot of good stuff a lot of stuff like this in your hand. So he's got a few minutes. He's got about a minute left before hand science. He's crafted automation, and now he's just going to put it right up here near the gears. 3 labs. Declare the recipe. Put in the copper, and he can even just throw those gears right in. So there's your split. So he's right on 13 and 41. Most speedrunners can get a time that's somewhere around there for red science. And red science, getting those first 7 red science up and running is pretty key. Automation you have to hand feed, and then everything else after that you want to throw into a machine. So he'll do logistics, and he really needs to just get to green science recipe unlocked. And fast inserters are pretty key for the way he does coal. That's the way I do coal as well. Putting on a single belt like that, double-sided belt, So that inserter that is outputting coal out of the chest is pretty slow. So what you probably want to do is hand feed the coal into the inserters, at least single units, to get them started while the line fills. Once you switch to blue inserters, the fast inserters, you won't have that. They don't have that issue. Now multiply that over several lines, and you're going to want those blue inserters. See how this is hand fed? He's hand feeding belts, even throwing the gears in there and throwing the lines, throwing the everything else. All right, so see, this is what we were talking about. He's now out of power, so he has to run back here, pick up all this coal. He's got to hustle back to power. And what you might want to do is, since you're running back to power anyway, is go ahead and build some extra steam engines as well as some boilers. He's out of power. So right now, nothing's building, nothing's running except those miners. So here he's got to hustle back. He's got 3 up only, so he's going to put in another up to 10, looks like. He's at maybe 9. And then draw the line back so we can get it off that line easy. So it's good. Hand make some of those stone furnaces. All right. So now he's going to make the other side of this iron. He's got 6 science potions in his inventory. Probably should plunk that in there and get those done. But I think in this run he carries around a lot of red science with him but I don't understand the reason for it. I don't know. Maybe it's not worth throwing it in, but I think there was one run I was watching him, and he was carrying around 150 red science for reasons. I don't know. Seems excessive. I'm sure I carry around. I don't know. I got my inventory down pretty good. Now look at these inserters. Here's a good. This is the benefit of doing the intermediates very early. Is that look how fast those inserters go because he's only making the boards. He's not making the copper cables, and he's not making the gears. Split up the coal in between there, and now it's feeding to both sides. He's got to keep these going while he prepares for green science. He's going to tool up here for green science, and with belts and 2 inserters. So now he's finally putting an output inserter on that middle iron line. Now he's got his blueprint. Now this is pretty interesting. That is kind of the starter line, and he's going to paste in another iron line up there, plus additional lines. I did see him do one thing. I'll point it out when he does it. Is that I'm going to make corrections on in my run. Is hand-fed stone, which is another really good thing. So he just draws a straight line right through to this iron, which might become steel later on or might not. You do need a ton of iron. I haven't seen this. Actually, I have. I've seen this method before, where you just kind of make a line, a temporary build, then another line. And this is very similar to Nephrim's build. Also, very similar to one of the builds that I use. This is the first bit of getting iron and gears and boards on a line. So many things when you first start out take those 3 ingredients, like an inserter, a yellow inserter. It's a piece of iron, 1 gear, and 1 circuit. So you're going to need that for almost everything that you need to build the base here from here on out. All those basic components: inserters, belts, undergrounds, splitters, miners, and then once you add steel in, you can get the assemblers, the blue assemblers, as well as chemical plants, and into power poles. So those 3 plus steel gets you just about everything else you need for a base and bots. So here's the first time he's going to put down some coal. Up until now, he's been hand feeding his 1 line. So he's only going to put in a few of them here. I think I just did the. Let's do source there. There you go. I think I just messed with the detail. So there you go. He's going to put the coal on. He's going to get some more belts before he does that. He's got some. He's going to hand feed. Remember, all the power out there is hand-fed, so every time he goes out here, he's going to want to bring some coal with him so he can throw it in. But this time, he's got the burner inserters, and lots of players do normal inserters there. Now he's going to double up steam engines. Pretty smart. There he goes. See, and put those right. Yeah, burner inserters don't power out, so you're less likely. It helps you avoid a couple scenarios where you'll brown out if you use burner inserters, because they are fed by the coal that you put on the line. They're not fed by the electricity. What will get you is it delays your brownout a little bit longer and gives you a little bit more time to react if you use those burner inserters. They're slower. They can't really do much more than a yellow belt, but I do like using them. I see various usage. I see various different strategies for inserters on power. And consensus is there's not really a consensus among the speedrunners. I see a wide variety. Personal preferences, I like it. Now, this is really key, is that he's still got red science going, which is great. Steel axe is, I don't think it's the last one to go, but actually I didn't pay attention to what his initial order was here. I think it's pretty standard. Those go pretty quick with direct fed iron. But hand crafted steel, hand fed and hand crafted, but not on a line. Just throw down some furnaces and hand fed steel. That's very key, because when you get to oil and you get your first power poles, you're going to need some steel early on, earlier than you're going to have a steel line for oil refineries, chemical plants, tanks, and power poles. At least that's what I use them for. He's going to use them for oil. I don't know that he's going to use them for power poles as well. Maybe the steel chests will come into play too, but he uses a bunch of iron chests instead, which will get you through get you almost all the way there. So you don't necessarily need steel chests. Steel chests are handy to put down to later swap out for robotic chests, because robotic chests, one of the components is steel. So if you have 5 steel chests on the ground, you can quickly replace them with red, which picks up the steel chests in your hand, so you can make those immediately into 5 more. Just a little handy trick. All right. So now this is a very similar build that is going to feed these circuit boards on the opposite side of the belt as these gears. Right now he's just been feeding them to a chest, which is fine. But getting that copper line up is pretty key, because now you can start to really automate. You can automate most all the things that you need to build your base. Although he delays a bunch of these, a bunch of the tooling type of things until after oil, which I don't. I'm kind of chicken to do that, which I should probably take a page out of that, because Xeno is somewhere around 30 to 40 minutes faster than I am. So I should probably take up some of these practices that beat me. Take a page out of this one, because hey, if he's faster, if he's able to put stuff down, right, scoreboard. So now he's picked up a bunch of gears. You shouldn't have to pick up gears again for a long while. In fact, he may want to feed some of those back in once he puts his tooling down to give it a jump start. But now he can make inserters very quickly. He can make miners very quickly. In fact, that's what he's doing over in the bottom left. As you'll see, I think there's 20 miners going, and then I think he made around 50 of those inserters, because he was putting them down on the line. And for every line, if you have 24 on one side of an iron line, or of an ore line, whether iron or copper, because that's what it's 30 miners, 24 furnaces on each side feeds one yellow line of iron plate. So that ratio is 30 miners. It's all yellow belt. 30 miners, 24 furnaces on per side, 48 total. So if you think about it, there's 2 inserters per iron line per side, or per stone furnace, which means each side is going to need 48 inserters plus 2. You see the 2 that are feeding coal onto the opposite sides of the belt. So there's really 49 49 inserters per side. And at 49 inserters, so look, he's queued up Automation 2 and Science Speed for when he gets green science. So all of the initial red science is done. But this is very interesting. I wait for science speed because I'm usually not waiting on science to process on green science. I'm not waiting on the modules or on the labs, that is. So he's going to make the double line where now he can put down, here's the first part of tooling, but the first 2 are belt and inserters that you can use to make green science. So this is interesting because I didn't think about this, but he puts down 2 chests, and each chest feeds the same side of that belt. So here is green science on the right, and then red science on the left. And I think it is 8 green and 7 red. I always did a ratio of 5 to 6, so I do 10 to 12, which is a little more accurate to how often they the speed of their recipes. It's 5 seconds for a red and a 6-second build for a green, so it means 5 to 6. Now he's going to route up these lines. And now he's got to get labs going. So you see there's a double-sided, there's a belt there that is double-sided, but he's going to probably output those gears differently. And he's to be afraid to, it's called F the belt. Be afraid to pick up off the belt. Here comes copper. That now, up until now, he's hand-fed all the miners, and he's still living off of, I believe, 18 or 20. I didn't get a good count, but 18 or 20 power poles. It's a lot of miners to put in. So now he's done with these. So he's going to pick those up, and he's going to let those play out. Bump the steel again. Miners are still making. All the while, he's making labs. He's got 27 labs queued up, which is a lot of material. A lot of gears, a lot of boards, a lot of belts in every lab. So it's pretty expensive. Look, it looks like he's off by 1, so he's going to correct the stack, or no, he's going to correct the 1. Okay, there he goes. I make this mistake all the time. I call it can't draw a straight line. Speedrunner, you got to draw a straight line. I make that mistake all the time. And look, he's going to run out of power poles. Yep, he's got to run out. He's got to get power poles, and it looks like he's going to have to cancel those miners if he's going to get the power poles done. Yep, he's got to cancel the. He thought about it. He's still waiting for those miners, though. He's got a couple. Now he's got power poles. Go, go, go. Good. So now he's put a little bit more than 30 miners. Remember, we said that to fill a yellow belt is 30 miners, but he's going to get 2 belts worth of coal, and that's going to be a mixture. So he's low on belts. So you see what he did is he threw down just a makeshift assembler just to help build belts. There you go. There are 2 belts worth of coal. They're not all going to be 2 full belts, but that is the remember again, you need 30 miners. This right here, this is what I wanted to show you, is the stone that he's going to put in right here. This is going to be hand-fed stone. And the reason why you need stone, you need hand-fed steel for oil and some other builds, but you need hand-fed steel for your hand-fed stone to get that done early because oil refineries will need it. So now look, he's left it down, and now what he didn't do was connect the smelting line. So that is probably a mistake if I were to guess, because he saw that he was red on labs and wanted to get started on labs, so he's run up here to do these labs. And now he's going to put down 36 labs, 3 rows of 12. But the whole while, if you go down a little bit farther down south, the lines are not being, the coal lines are not being fed on his smelting lines, or the coal side of the belt is not being fed, because he did not hook up the coal. And I think we're gonna go down there and discover that here in a minute. So he's off by 1 on these red inserters. Not going to matter because there's going to be another one there. He's going to put extra inserters there because those inserters are going to be needed, because he's going to have another belt come right on top of that. Yep, those power poles need to be 1 space up. Yep, because the belt is going to come through right where he's walking. Yep, there you go. Good. So not necessarily a bad, it was probably a mistake, but again, recovery is a skill. It's not really one you have to recover from. He needs space for the, this is the buffer that he's going to put in. You need space for the splitter, and you prioritize that splitter. So now he's going to move through the rest of oil. So here comes a splitter. He's going to make the boards for it, and probably should grab a bunch of boards for his inventory later on. That needs to be prioritized. Otherwise, it's going to mess with him if you don't prioritize the buffer. See how it's coming right out of that splitter on the main line, on the left side line. It's splotchy. And the way to get around that is to prioritize it so that it output left is the priority. Now look, see, all these are out of coal. They're out of fuel because he didn't hook up the thing. But now look, he's going to discover it because there's a belt right here that needs to cross. And now he's done them both, and now they'll get fed up. So there he goes. He only lost a couple minutes where the smelting shouldn't be too bad. All right. So there's some more hand steel that he's going to need. So that's really smart to get the hand-fed steel. When in doubt, in the first hour, you always want your handcraft queue going. When in doubt, if you don't have material for anything for your base, stone furnaces, power poles. Probably actually opposite of that, reverse that order. Power poles are probably first, then stone furnaces. And stone you can get in a bunch of different places, but you'll need a lot of stone near end game. Stone furnaces for boilers and that sort of stuff to power up. So he's going to run the stone up here, but he's already got some hand-fed bricks that should be done. Oh, he didn't mine it up, but this is good. The stone is pretty close. He's just going to go ahead and round it up. Didn't really need that, but he did need the hook in. So that's what the purpose of that blueprint, where he hooks in. There you go. Now you need a buffer for your gears, for your stone and your stone bricks, because the raw stone is going to be hit hard by rails. You need a lot of raw basic stone from rails. So he's got his pipes going. You need tons of pipes for oil. So he's going to offload some of that stone into just a normal chest, probably a trash chest. I probably would have suggested to throw that into the stone deals, but here comes oil. He's got a staggered deal where he builds 5 in a row, skips a little space. He's got to do that, just skip some. And I think that's where sulfuric is going to go. So there's 7 refineries that he's built with the bricks. Or not yet. He hasn't built it yet. I guess he's just got the model for it. So now he's grabbed some steel, and now he's going to go upgrade everything. So now he's making the grays into blues. Now he hasn't tooled anything up, but now he can really speed up on science by converting everything to blue. And now he's going to throw the science that he was carrying. He's going to throw that into the machine. All right, now this is the walk to go get crude, and he's got this measured out pretty well. This is the advantage right here of an any percent, is you can do this measurement. You see how he indexed off of the underground pipe and then lined up his power pole just so. And then you can walk up. That's one of the great things about any percent, is you have time to plan out your map, and you should probably play your map several times so you can get that timing in there. This is one thing. I saw him do this earlier. He used to build 11 of those refineries. Now he's down to, he's not building 11 anymore. I think he only built 5 of them, which is what I do. I make the decision to build only 5 refineries, but I build a bunch of tanks, because I start it as soon as I can, and then I just fill up on crude while I'm waiting. So all he's doing is storing up crude right now. So may as well throw it into a tank, and may as well take advantage of that runtime. So here are the refineries. He needs 2 more refineries. He needs chemical plants right after that for plastics, because you want reds and plastics up pretty quick. So plastics is on the science right now. So he's going to have that just barely in time, which is pretty much what you want. So there you go. There's those bricks are good. He's put a chest right there so he can capture some of them. Oh, I think he's just seen it, and he's going to put, yep, there you go. You do need a buffer for those, because otherwise, oh, he's got some copper on that line too. There you go. So now he's capturing it all. He's going to put it on the same line. All right, so that's going to run down there. Now he's got plastic to deal with, and he's got that coal right there. So now, see, there's a speed run trick: is just draw the straight line all the way as long as you can, and then you can pick it all up again with the underground pipes as you need later on. So don't worry about it getting it just right initially. So these are batteries, because it's I know those are going to be batteries because they're near a copper and an iron line. That's what you need for sulfuric and batteries. You need both of those. My eye is dry. I'm having to close an eye every once in a while. All right, and this is the water. I don't need the water right now. You do need the water for, you only need it right now for the sulfuric, which is in the center of that build, and you'll need it later for all of the oil, the advanced oil. But so he went ahead and ran the water right now, which is smart, because you're going to need it to get plastic start pretty quick. All right, he's got sulfur being produced. Probably should make a blue inserter for that. I don't remember the research, the recipe time, but I want to say a fast inserter is good for sulfur. I could be wrong though. I put it on mine because I have 2 of them going into a single bin. I buffer sulfur to and count sulfur for to determine how much blue science I make. Sulfur is my every science for most speedrunners is there's a key ingredient, and the key ingredient is more like your bottleneck. Whatever bottlenecks, and sometimes it's an intentional bottleneck because you don't want to make too many, right? So mine is sulfur. Some people, and also my bottlenecking or my limiting ingredient for purple is red circuits. I think I limit everything on yellow. So he's got to put in some more oil in those refineries. Does take a lot of power, so he's got to put in some more power. Add those in his inventory. There you go. And then, yeah, he's done that whole thing on 9 boilers, which is pretty good. You can't do too much more because those you can't build too much bigger. You got to expand power. The problem with power is it does take up a lot of real estate, so you may expand. You may see him expanded on power on the other side as well. All right, so now is the upgrade part where he's built some blue assemblers, level 2 assemblers in his inventory with the hand-fed steel and the old gray ones that he's built. So you just run and place everything over it. Now it's time to get the copper done. Okay, so as he gets copper done, picks up some more handcrafted steel, hand-fed steel. Goes the rest up through blue science. So now look at his next. His next benchmark, he's right on time with oil. His next benchmark is increased power, which I hadn't seen before, but it is a good reminder. Because oil and all of the next builds all the rest of it is just about ramping up faster. Most of the science that he's going to get done is going to be the science items that he's going to get done are all in red green. Just numerically, the amount of science that you do is red. Most of it's red green. You got to get around 4,000 blue science on the belt. A little less than that. And this is formal steel. Now watch this build. This needs to get going pretty soon, but you can offset that because of that hand fed or hand fed steel. All right. Just the number of inserters on steel is just so many. It's so many inserters. So it's now 3 inserters per stone furnace, and there's 96 stone furnaces. And power poles down the middle. This is a pretty common build. And right about here is where I would probably put in the handcrafted medium power poles. So I would have to run down that center just one time instead of make those 3 laps and then worry about trees. Well, we skipped the increased power build. I guess that's what he meant by increased power. So now this is pretty good. Upgrade planner, and you want all of steel to be upgraded if possible as soon as you can. So at some point I'll probably hand feed some stone furnaces to steel furnaces and hand replace those to get it going. That's what I ended up doing. Now here, this is interesting because now we're finally getting tooling down. Tooling, or done rather. There's what the extra inserter is for, is that you need extra inserter if you're going to pull off the green science line. You have to supplement it somehow. So that's what he's doing, is now he's got 2 yellow inserters. It's really smart. He's going to snake around, a little spaghetti. Put some of that on there, and he's going to put some gears on that, and that's going to become part of blue science. Need some prioritization on those splitters with the buffers. So there's plastic and sulfur on the same belt. Pretty interesting. Haven't seen that before. Wonder how he's going to limit the blue science. Maybe it is reds. This is not a bad way to do it. So for blue science, you need 10K reds. Sound right? 11K? No, not that many. 5,500. 5,500. I was looking at the wrong line. So your dedicated greens. And those greens are going to probably go to red, to dedicated to red. Red circuits. Yep. And then he's going to output them. What's the output of those greens? Something's facing the wrong way. Yeah, the blue inserters are facing the wrong way, I think, or... Yeah, they're facing the wrong way. Okay. I haven't seen this build. Green circuits and... Oh, clever. Look at that. That's pretty clever. See how you use a splitter to basically swap a belt in on one side. And yep, these greens are going to go straight towards red circuits. So this is going to be red circuits right here. All the way. 16, I think, by the numbers. 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, going to be 16. All right. And then sulfur, what he may do is put blues just on the other side of that and cut that tree down and throw it over there. Almost like direct feed. Yep, so some of them are going to output and go to red, to blue science, and then, Oh, put them on the same line. Oh, there you go. Look there. That's pretty good. So he's got one where he's just pulling off some buffer, and then the other one's where he's putting on the same. He's putting on the line for blue science. And there go the batteries, and so batteries which have been buffering for a little bit are going to come up here. And this is that's going to be the frames, I think. He's got this mapped out. Steel and batteries, yep, and then that's going to be frames. So he's done with pipes. Take those stone. No, he's going to put pipes back on. Oh, he's just got to redo it. Did he move them? He's got too many pipes in his inventory now. There you go. Don't want to mix those lines. Okay, that looks the same. That's what he had. And if I had to guess, that's going to be engines, normal engines and electric engines in front of it, supplemented by lube. So he's got to be able to track lube all through there because those engines will want a direct feed. No, blue science. Not engines, but yes, that side is engines. Left side is engines. And there we go. Engines are direct feed, and then the other two are insert directly. Interesting build. But I don't know how you limit that. Maybe he doesn't care. Steel off of the back of that line, gears and pipes for the engines, and then blue science is off and running. That might mix the belt the way he's got it. Yep, right in. It looks like, yeah, replace those missing inserters. It looks like that splitter may cause him some problems. That is feeding that line. It might block the red, or sulfur and red going into a dedicated red line. I'll see if that comes into play here in a minute. So blue science is apparently off, is done. Logistics 2 is still running green only. Just going to build that up. So now is advanced oil. I'm going to have 3 oil derivatives coming out. So he's got to build all that. That's pretty good. See, I don't tend to do this because I kind of want to be able to walk in between these two. Of course, I'm 45 minutes slower. So that's my thoughts about having the blocks on it. Oh yeah, look, it didn't connect up blue science, but he's not researching anything blue science related anyway either. All right, so he's putting the tanks on the end of the new oil derivatives. Probably don't need very many tanks using petroleum gas. He's going to tell the bots in advance. Flip that, blueprint that, and flip it over on the other side, maybe? Or just add another side. Yep, there you go. Yeah, because he's just added all of those, he's going to need to really bump up power. Its power's an issue because in version 17.59 and below, we used to have some solid fuel by this stage that we could just turn on. We would have solid fuel as soon as we got oil, and solid fuel is a great fuel source. Now that you do have to sink some time into oil or into power as soon as you start fooling around with oil. All right, so one of those is going to become lube, probably the one at the bottom, and then this one will become, yeah, that's lube. Batteries are already off the line. This must be solid fuel for rocket fuel. Interesting build, hanging lube right off the edge. He's got to get lube researched because he can't do it. So there's advanced oils research because cracking is done. It's cracking. Okay, very interesting. Now he's just going to double up oil from the bots. Blue is off the line. See that splitter right there? It is. Okay. Okay. See, he changed that. That was going straight in there. Someone from chat must have bent his ear and said, "Hey, you're about to have a problem over there at red on the splitter." And by the way, incredible advantage to having someone in chat as a streamer, or someone, even the best guys, Nephrons and Anti and all those guys, have somebody in Discord. Often it is Xeno is doing commentary in their Discord, helping them watch for mistakes. Super helpful. I mean, saves the run many times. And Xeno is super helpful to those guys. And by the way, if you want to be successful, like and whether it's speedrunning or anything, sports or painting or all that other stuff, hang around the guys that are doing it the best. Get time with those who are doing it the best. Straight up. Seems easy. Here's the I was gonna say here's the robot frames, but then he declared it as electric engines, and I thought, no, that can't be right. And then the first robo port is going to go down right north of that empty assembler right there. There you go, and there's your bank for your 200 engines that you need for the rocket. Pick up some buffered reds. I really like this blue build. I may end up switching my blue build because it looks a little better. He's not used prod mods yet. May not need them. Production modules. So there's oh, look at there, robot speed. We were just talking about that. That first robot speed is only 50 science, 50 greens, 50 reds, 50 blues. Totally worth it. It does speed up the bots significantly, more than you'd think. So it is worth the 50 extra blue science and reds to get that done. Yeah, so it's good to see that Xeno just did that research. Oh, I think is this boilers? No, power pole. So okay, as he picks up wood, so this is pretty smart. As he picks up wood, you declare the wood in that trash bin, and then the bots will pick up the wood, drop it in the trash bin, and then the assembler consumes it into power poles. I didn't see how he's getting the copper cabling though for that. I don't know where he's going to peel off the reds. Reds and greens are going to go over here to, there's the prod mods, I bet. Yep. There we go. Yep. Oop, backwards belt. Oh, backwards belt. Just missed it. Limit some chests. His backwards belt up there needs to be fixed. What I also do for that prod mod build is I go ahead and handcraft 8 speed module 1s, 2 apiece, and throw them in the prod mods just so I have a fast prod mod build. I get that down as early as possible. And there's solid fuel. Need the RoboPort to extend the range. He's got lots in his inventory. He can probably just throw down in there. He's not limiting blue. Maybe it's just the belt. He wants the full belt of blue, and it's not that long of a belt, so don't see any. There's probably not a whole lot of downside. That he's got. Oh yeah, I was gonna say his inventory's getting full. It just maxed out. He's gonna have to pick up and put down a bunch of inventory for what he's about to do. But bots, look at that. That's a great time for bots is 1:30. Really good. So now he's going to race to blue chips. He needs even more reds and more greens. The demand for green is amazing. This is the number of green chips that you need for blue is pretty insane. And then double side that. Yep. It's a lot of water that's needed, and you might just feed water in both sides. It's going to need a bunch of, he's going to need 4 of them, and just feed them all in, double side. There you go. Yep. Very good. Chop up the edges. Get a few extra power poles, I guess, to route. Oh no, it's to route the science. There you go. All right, so what he wants to do is route that solid fuel up there. That's a really great location for oil and water. Having oil and water next to each other, very handy. It's one of the better ones you want to look for. Look at that. He's pulling up that initial iron line. Did not become steel. Pretty interesting. So he's got 2 iron lines. That's right. So one is up there, one is back there, and he's got he needs to make some steel furnaces so that the steel can be replaced. But he's already replaced the ones that are not yet there. I did not see him make steel furnaces. So this must be rails coming soon. No, there it is. There, that's what I was looking for. It's stone and steel. Saying how are those being placed, and they weren't being placed. They were being. It's just the inserters being placed. For that power build, he's right. So he's crafting some of those burner miners that we talked about earlier. He's got some copper in there. It's a pain. He's got to split off. Oh, he's seen some copper in his line, so he's going to filter off the copper just to make sure it's gone. There he goes. Got some boilers. So the trash, he set up a trash bin for wood to wooden power poles. By that time, I've already chopped so many power poles manually to get rid of what I needed for oil that I've got them in my inventory, and I just right-click them. I guess this map doesn't do that, so his choice was to do that via trash can. I do boilers for a trash can because I put down a bunch of stone furnaces first to get things going, and then have the bots replace the stone furnaces with steel furnaces, and then the stone goes into an assembler along with pipes, and they're turned into boilers that place for power. I wonder if that's all the power that he's got, because I don't see any more power, but his layout on live split is pretty dim. Oh, he's got another layer of cracking with that water. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Cracking in a speedrun. Okay. Don't need a bunch of tanks if you do all the cracking like that. It's not. It's got plenty of water. Looked like one of those lines was broken. And there you go. There's your solid fuel. And he's feeding the solid fuel back into smelting as well, which is not a bad idea at all. Solid fuel is very energy dense compared to coal. You could save on a lot of coal because at some point your assembler, your smelting lines may run out. Oh, and his power lines, he's almost out. Another one. All those miners, if they keep running, miners are pretty interesting. When they're running, they do drain quite a bit of power, 90 kilowatts each. So a line of 30 of those will take 2.7 megawatts. Do that math right? 90 kilowatts. Yeah, 2.7 megs for 30. 9 times 3 times another 10 is 2.7. Yep. Yeah, so they take up a bunch of one line takes up 2 megs of power. So you do need a lot of power to do a full line of mining that immediately starts to run. So don't slouch on that. But the other piece of miners that's very interesting is they have no drain, and drain is the power that they take while idle. So if they're not running, it costs you 0, and that's very rare. Almost every other piece of equipment in Factorio costs some sort of power even when it's idle. If it's hooked up to a power pole, it's called drain. So if you hover over anything in Factorio, it has drain, except for miners. So all assemblies, all assemblers, all inserters, everything that takes power has a drain, except for miners. So this is the extended. This is going to, all of these here are mostly going to be for green circuits, these assembly lines, these extra ones. And because they're steel furnaces and not stone furnaces, you only need 12 per side instead of 24. They'll craft twice as fast. But also, it's another reason why you want solid fuel on your line instead of just coal, because otherwise you'll burn through the coal real quick. Because these things are crafted pretty fast, and they burn down the coal pretty fast. Always want to buffer at the end of it, because if your line stops, you can keep your production going. It is worth it, in my opinion, in my nearly professional opinion. But I see the elite speedrunners do that too. They put a buffer on almost the end of every smelting line. So the philosophy is that a patch of ore on the ground does you no good, and ore in your inventory kind of also does you no good, or plate in your inventory does you some good. So store it at the plate level. Like, stop there. Don't try and store ore. It's not really super useful unless you're trying to do something with concrete or I don't know, something. Don't really store ore. Instead, store it at the plate level. That's a good place to buffer it, because it has so many uses once it gets to plate. So don't worry about ore buffers. So he just made a bunch of mining lines. Did not use bots for that. He manually routed all those up, and now he's got bots running and doing his bidding. So blue chips need to come off according to his schedule in 21 minutes. It's still a long time away, but they need to come off very soon because they do take a while. There you go. You can't really do any splitters. He's already got LDS done. So he's got to get rocket fuel. Rocket fuel takes a lot longer than it used to. We used to have abundance of solid fuel. You can get that going pretty quick. No longer. Rocket fuel also now has a liquid component. So the builds are a little more complex. I recently just had to redo my build. It used to be makeshift. There's too much variability, so I now have a dedicated standard rocket fuel build. So probably, I didn't count these, but this looks short of 30 per side. So he's probably going to have to do some balancing of these 3 copper lines in here. I also don't leave space in between the lines for my copper builds. I usually drill the power lines through the miners. There's a method to do that and get 30 per side still, but once you do it one time in your builds, then you should be able to blueprint it and paste. And then after you get bots, then bots will do your bidding, and they'll just paste it in the same order. So I predict he's going to do a little bit of balancing here with these 3. Maybe not. Yeah, I guess not. Screw it. We don't need no balancer. That's good. He's already got an iron line done, but he's got them in the right order that he's gonna want to do. So he's yeah. Look. So what you don't want is yellow flashing. That sits right here. That means you're empty on inventory. So even if you get bots, you do want to keep an eye on this little yellow triangle right here. In any percent, normally it just means your base is under biter attack, but in any percent, it means the bots don't have something. So likely your build is either stopped or slowed because you don't have something in inventory. So it's good to pay attention, especially right after you get bots. Oh, look, and he just figured out the prod mod had 1 belt, so those 2 were deadheaded and they weren't producing. So now he's got to speed some stuff up. He's built the 5th one that probably he wouldn't have to do. So this is really good. The first thing you need to do is prod mod your sciences, because that if by using a prod mod you get free science, that means you get free versions of all the material that you use to build science. And then you start backwards with your sciences from there. So science modules, and then your yellow science assemblers, then your purples, then your blue, etc. That's good for mega basing or speed running. It's good advice. Now here comes a little bit of, is it balancing? A little bit. All right, so now he's got plastics, and this is going to be green. This should be green circuits by now. Not familiar with this build. Red circuits. Oh, this is blue circuit build. Or no. That's the other thing is in speed runs, you don't want to forget radars. You should put that in your plan. Radars are pretty cheap. For 5 of them, you'll be able to see your whole map and grab a blueprint that you didn't think you needed. Yep, green chips that go directly to red, apparently. I've not seen this build. Probably those are blues up there at the top, and he's going to blueprint this and redo it all. Blue cheaps. Yep. And greens will come out on that, so that'll be a double line of red. So the issue is that the blue chips are very disproportional on their red to green ratio. So if this is just going to make a double line that feeds into blue, this might not work, because your blue circuits now need, oh, what is it? It's a zillion. Look up the recipe. Needs only like 2 reds and then a lot of greens, 20 or 30. I don't remember. It's a ton. I put it all in a spreadsheet so I wouldn't have to remember. And now it comes back to bite me when I'm trying to do a good commentary, and I don't know the answer to this sort of stuff. Those of you are probably yelling at your screen, going 30, 20, idiot. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, criticism heard. Yep, so that should be blues. Oh, blue. Yeah, one. Oh, this is going to be a standard build. So 2 blue chip makers and 1 science module. Then you repeat this. This may not even... Interesting. Okay. It's all dedicated into 1 lane. Interesting. Okay. That's good. So all you're really feeding in here is sulfuric and copper and iron, and then you get, and I guess sulfuric, iron, copper, and plastic, and you get out reds. You get out blue circuits. No excess inventory, I guess. On that back line of copper, you do have to balance inward and make sure that near line has as much as possible. Interesting putting it on that side of the line of the. Interesting putting it on that side of the belt, I guess, because they pull off the other side. And you just, yep. Ooh, oh, look at there, red belt. So everybody, this is a very common question I get all the time. Hey, don't you use red belt in a speed run? Isn't it faster? No. Generally, the answer is no. We speedrunners generally don't use red belt. I use, I want to say, 2 undergrounds that are red, but it's only because I need, the way I formed my base, I need more than 6 spaces in between my undergrounds. So I grab the red. But generally, so this, you do need it because you need to move material all the way down, and it's only a half belt. You need to move that plastic all the way down because otherwise it won't work. So probably he used a bunch of the gears that he picked up and the yellow belt just to make a bunch of reds and slung that down this one specific space. But you'll notice most of this he's using yellow belts everywhere, and that's common. So this is going to be purple. Here come the rods. And rods are what go into the rails. All right, so we'll look at how he's going to put together purple. So all the other sciences are done. Purple science is the next objective. He's green on blue circuits, so hopefully those make well, and he's done the blueprint correctly. You queue up the rest of science. We can't really see. He hasn't started a new research. Wonder if that is an issue. You should always have a research queued whether or not you're doing it or not, unless he's delaying for a reason or he's caching. I don't know why you do that, though. I like these builds. Are pretty ingenious. Yep, so there it is. Oh, he had to correct one of the output belts. Yep, so there is purple. So likely this is going to be direct feed. Yep, or yeah, you need a lot of rails. It's an amazing amount of rails that you need for purple. Do not underestimate. I want to say where's rails? Rails for purple, you need 15,000 rails, so 7,700 stone and steel for rails, something like that. Assuming some prod mods are in there. This is good. You want to. You also want to make you need 4 production 3 modules, and the way to do that is to get your prod mods go through 2s and prod mod 2s into 3s. And you need that for the rocket. Make sure you have 4 productivity 3 modules in your rocket, because that is absolutely worth the amount of material you save on the back end. Rocket parts are so expensive. Just go get some more power. Don't worry about, if you're in any percent, you don't worry about pollution. Go do that. And that's going to be, more rail. No, not more rail. Oh, that's going to be the furnaces. Yep. And there's the furnaces. You may have a steel problem because that rail is going to be grabbing steel and trying to fit the same amount of steel in its furnaces. You see them, they tried to feed in prod mods. It's the last thing he had copied. He's got a loop over there. He's got purple science. I don't know if it's researched or not. His research is paused. Yeah, it is, I guess. So this is also it's called a carousel build, one where you just put it on a line, it goes round and round, and whatever you have stored, it's a way to control your inventory by storing it on a belt, and then you just loop it around to make sure that there's all empty spots, and that it's really an inventory control measure. It just make sure that you end up having the right amount of that the material is not only controlled, but also available for every assembler by moving it around the line the whole time, giving every inserter a chance to claim unclaimed inventory. So there's the yellow-purple underground. He may need more labs. I don't know that 36 is enough. By the time you get to the rocket, there's a ton of science that needs to be consumed. It's 1,000, and it's pretty slow. So that may be the time here pretty soon if he gets through his yellow science build pretty quick. He may need some extra science labs in there. So the yellow build now is very, very simple. The material to get there is not very simple. So he will have made extra robo frames back when he was making bots. He controlled some inventory and put the right amount in there. So now he should have enough frames. The number of frames that you need is around, 500 or so frames? 400, something like that, 401. Put in an extra 100 or so for the amount that you have on the belt. So you do 450, you're probably good, because one robo frame produces 3 yellows. There's your LDS. LDS, also a simple build, much more simplistic, needs a ton of copper. It's slow. Steel, plastic, and copper, and he's got plastic right there ready to go, which is really good. Really a great leverage build right here, because the distance between his plastic and his for blues and plastic for LDS is not very far at all. So here he's going to go ahead and place this down. Now we'll route it up. This run is doing really good for him. Underground. Ground. Now he needs steel on that other side. He's got to bring it back one. There's your steel. Now he's going to hand feed that steel like a boss. Bang. He's going to get some more steel. Hand-fed steel. That's dangerous. I have never been comfortable with hand-fed steel. I make 3 lines of steel and I put it into a 4-4 balancer and I route it everywhere. But all the pros do this and hand feed steel where they need it. That was good. He pulled into the red so he could put some more in there. Really good. Yep, there he goes. Now he's making some more labs as predicted, because if you go back and you watch one of my other videos that showed the steel axe, steel axe? Yes, steel axe technology. There is no steel axe speedrun. The issue is that some of the early science is super fast absorbing, like 5 seconds. And then the very next science you have is in that phase you can't make science fast enough. Then the very next science, steel axe technology, I think, is you need more labs, and now you have too much science, and now you can't absorb it. You can't consume it fast enough. So you go from making assemblers as fast as you can to labs as fast as you can within like 4 minutes. And that's what's going to happen on a macro scale here, is because at the end of this speed run, that rocket is, which is, I guess, this is it. It's 49 minutes to the rocket now. The rocket is all that's left. And I guess he's banking it because he has not researched anything in the last, I want to say, like 15 minutes. Picked up a bunch of copper. I don't know what he's going to do with the copper. Oh, he's going to, yeah, see, this is why I can't get super comfortable with hand-fed type of assemblers, is because I will forget it. I'm a forgetful guy in a speed run. Wonder what that blue buffer is in that blue chest, that blue science chest. He doesn't have anything running right now. I wonder what the plan is. Okay, hand feeding robo frames. There it goes. Mine I feed into a bucket and it outputs to a line. I have a carousel build for my yellow. But yellow's coming off the line very quickly. He's going running his finger along there to check and just make sure it's there. There goes yellow science. Prod mod 3. Very good. Notice the spacing of the modules, of the labs. That's so you can put beacons in between there and speed up that last little bit. You put the right amount of space for a beacon, a 3x3 beacon. And he's going to upgrade, use upgrade planner to put some reds in. And this may be hand-fed beacons, I guess, maybe. Oh, rocket fuel. Yep, he hasn't done rocket fuel yet. He's got to get that done. But he's probably banked some solid fuel, so he's probably good. And they're going to output. He's going to feed on the center. This is very similar to what my build, except I'm inside out build. This is outside in. Doesn't take much solid fuel. It does, light oil. It does take a lot of solid fuel. So he's going to feed that up there. And a lot of time. The time on that recipe is now excessive, and it's a slow build. So that might come back and get him here soon. But he's going to route it over here. He's got the bots do the routing. He's put it all to a chest pretty soon, because otherwise, there you go. There's your chest. What you don't want to have happen is any of your advanced rocket parts be dead-headed because they can't output to something. All in all, this is a really good run. He hasn't made too many mistakes. Maybe those modules earlier and maybe the coal earlier, but that's not bad at all. I'll tell you that I make a lot more mistakes in my runs for sure. On a routine basis, doing a little bit of hand feeding, speed that up. Now here he's probably thinking, all right, all the sciences are done. He's probably thinking, oh, I forgot something. Now it's just balancing. That's great time. Think about this. All of the sciences are built and every science is running at like 2 hours and 18 minutes. He's done with sciences. That's amazing. That's a really, really good build. Really smart player. Make sure you go follow him. His link is down in the chat in the description. You can tell I'm a Twitch broadcaster because I say everything as, hey, it's in the chat, because we have commands that go into the chat. We may do a couple of these live on YouTube sometime soon. He's got to split off some coal over here to supplement this power, because he's seeing that it's really light, and he's not buffering it anymore because, see, look at there it is. He's to hand feed that. Filter out some coal. Oh, and loop it back around. Aha, okay. Because you don't want to send coal up to the rocket fuel. So there you go. But you do want to send it back around. Pretty smart. He's making sure they all have outputs. Yeah, solid fuel is super valuable. There's the science buckets are all outputting. So he's got speed module 3, and then it's just the rocket. So now the only thing he's missing concrete. I don't think we've seen him do. He's missing the prod mod 3s that he has not done yet. At least I haven't seen him. He's in RCUs, and this is pretty key. I need to learn this a little bit better, which pulls in inventory only when it's not running. It's a really great method to control your inventory. Times, that does not equal to that. Output 1, and then you set those. If there's a signal run, you read the hand contents. Yep. And then when star is equal to, when there's equal to 0, you only run when it's equal to 0, and you only run when the speed module is equal to 0. Then you flip it on the other side. My method is brute force, just throw as much inventory as you can out there. I know he's got to flip those before he goes on. Yeah, as long as you're there, have the bots do all your cleanup. There you go. Good. Good RoboPort. He's doing great, man. He's got one speed module for every 2 blue makers, and he's going to do a carousel build. It looks like, where he pull from the inside, and then he's going to output to, the insides are going to loop around like a sushi bar. Right. RCUs are a big build. Yep, there's the carousel. Oh, it looks like one belt wasn't quite right up there, if I saw that correctly. Might be mistaken. Oh, the inserters, that's smart. It switches sides. Switches belt sides, so you can double up the belts, the sides of the belt, instead of just having a one-sided belt. So you put the blues and the speed modules on the same. He's filtering coal. On the same side, on the same line, and feed them in. This is very similar to the build that I do. And then, so what I think should happen is this splitter business. He needs to fix this splitter business. I don't think this is the most effective way to deliver to the rocket. If there's anything I would suggest fix, it's that. There's ways to do that and get as many prod mods on there, or as many beacons on there as possible. But otherwise, Xeno's a super superior player in most aspects, and getting anything near close to 3 hours is world class. So don't take anything away, but I would fix those, because that's too many. It's too many inserters, too many splitters. I would use stacker inserters and 2 chests per, and start storing them up right now. That's what I do in my runs. That is smart. That is really, really smart, is making all your prod mod 2s early, getting as many exactly as many as you need, and then making all the prod mod 3. Just flip it over into prod mod 3s. That's brilliant. I did not think of that. That is a brilliant play. Good job, Xeno. That's great. Hand delivering looks like the frames. See, I would much rather throw those into a chest and let the inserters work on that, because I would forget that hand feed. Of course, that's why I'm 30 minutes slower than Xeno. 40. Yeah. Yep, speeding up the reds are a good thing, assuming you have the power capacity. Very good. Because reds are typically a very common bottleneck. They're very common in my runs. If I get off to the wrong start, that turned out to be really smart, is splitting those off and sending the rocket fuel up, splitting that coal off and looping it back around. It's really good. And he's checking for the amount of solid fuel, making sure it's running. So at this point, I've been to this point too. Just here's concrete, right? So it's all attached. There it is. You can hand feed concrete. Just put in output. You should do blue there, probably, because they have 10 that they make. This is really good. You just run around and grab a bunch of iron, put in 1 stack of iron and 1 stack of bricks, and you're done. In 5 assemblers, that'll make 200 per. If an assembler is completely full of everything it needs to do concrete, it'll make 200 concrete. And so you can hand feed 5 of them and you're done. So that's a really easy way to make 1,000 concrete for a rocket and speed run. And just make sure it's near water somewhere. Hook it up to water. And he's going to put back in the solid fuel that he grabbed from down there, because apparently it wasn't outputting. So he's throwing all that in. That's a good move to make sure that line is full. Maybe it'll back up and push some more down to power too. All in all, he didn't use too many. See that right there. If you're going to walk through there, Breaking pipes. I don't like that at all. I don't like doing that at all. I'm super nervous that I would break something and then not fix it the right way, or I pick up a straight pipe and then put in an underground pipe in its place accidentally, and then it's toast. The build shuts down because the pipe is no longer continuous. I would like to see how his blue circuits are doing. It looks like this research has stalled out from its initial push. I like to see. So reds are hurting. Look at his blue science. Reds are hurting, so he needs to do something about that. He's going to add some. He's going to hand feed some copper into that. That's an easy thing to do. Also, hand feed some copper into that coil maker. He's just going to grab out of the buffers. That's why you buffer right there. Put a chest and then throw it all in there, and now he's got green, or he's got green boards that are ready to go because of coils. Throw the rest of the coils in. Yep, throw those down. Reds on all counts, and it's because of green circuits, looks like, and coils, I guess, on that account. So apparently this run wraps up in within 20 minutes. It'll be 10 minutes in our time. Yep, hand-fed steel again to put that on the line. See, I would not have remembered that. So that's tough. It's a trade-off. You can do hand-fed, which means you save time on routing all the assemblies, but that means that you're now counting on your memory to do what you need to do. All right, so he's done with yellow science completely. He's got enough, so he just turned those into something else and some other recipe that he doesn't need to do, and like he turned them into repair packs, which is fine. That picked up all the inventory and stopped the science, so that he can save the blues for RCUs, and he's picking up the prod mods because it looks like he's got the prod mods too. So he sent everything back in, and he just accidentally sent some blues in there. He put inserter and started using that instead. All right. Yep, so here come the beacons. So this is why he made that measurement. Also, these beacons can be used over on the rocket side as well. Yeah, look, he stopped the frames as well because he's done with frames. It's good. Makes some extra engines because he doesn't look like he has enough on the line for the rocket silo. So he's probably thinking, oh crap, I'm not gonna have engines for my rocket. I'm gonna get all this way and then not have them. So you got to hand feed, make some more, unless that's part of his plan, which I haven't muted. So I don't know if that's in the plan or not. Otherwise, really good run from Xeno. Yep, get those. He's hurting on reds, so he's got to hand feed some reds, pull some out of the little bin, and just one per, make sure they're all running. And there's the beacons, so you can beacon the other side as well. Where the speed modules. Can't do it just yet. He's handcrafting those beacons. I usually have those. I throw a bunch of ingredients in a single assembler and let it ride. Throw it into a robotic chest. And that way I don't have to do it. I don't have to think about it. Bots can think about it. I can make it something else. I like this base arrangement. It's nice and tight. It's pretty small. So it's better than mine is a really too big of a build. I need to start trimming it down a little bit better. Overall, Xeno's doing great on this build. So now he's probably just getting rid of his excess. That's all. Because at the end of the run, the rocket is going to need 1,000 steel, 1,000 concrete. So he's making room in his inventory to try and get that. Some of those green circuits, he should look to throw some of those green circuits into the reds that are struggling. That's what I would do. He's trying to get enough engines or electric engines to build the rocket. He's got his 4 prod mods. Oh, does he? No, does not have them in there. Go science. Now he's got them. Bang, they're all done. Yep, 4 productivity modules exactly. No extras. Really good. All right. So let's check on the RCUs. They look like they're doing good. The circuits are running. I did not see him do circuits and throw those in. Those are pretty clearly a hand feed item that you can do pretty easily. He's got 1 extra blue that he won't need. Otherwise, he needs 200 blue chips for the rocket. He's looking to any way he can speed something up. So he's pulling speed modules out of RCUs and putting them in supporting stuff, such as red, such as science makers and prod mods and all of that. Yep, all those blues have them. Dwindling down, so it looks like if his yellows are done, it's blue and purple, which is likely means it's just red circuits are likely the culprit here. So like he's just handcrafting and grabbing and throwing them into science, not waiting for the belt. I would probably, in that scenario, I probably wouldn't worry about that. That's a fast enough delivery from assembly to lab. I wouldn't worry about that too much. I would probably go do something to try and solve the supply issue. But then again, how much time is he going to have? Oh, something was there a backwards inserter down there? That those were not on? Oh, look at that. You see them all feed? Oh. I think there was probably a backwards belt or backwards underground something that didn't feed any of those, or they were missing inserters on that end. I don't know that it would make a ton of difference because we're really waiting on green on blues and purples, but I think half his science wasn't running. There we go. Dang, discovered that at the very end. He's got some RCUs. Probably need to go put those in the chest, so those can be delivered. I would use. Oh, there it is. Rocket Silo Research. Pick up those beacons and go. So look, he's started the research. Look down the bottom left. He started the handcraft. Picked up the beacons, and now he's going to throw the beacons around the rocket. And I don't think he's going to be able to fit as many beacons as he would be able to fit had he used a different delivery system. Boom. Prod mods must have the prod mods. If you miss that any, it's almost disaster. Tragedy! Exclamation point travesty. You throw a radar. You don't remember again for version 17. You don't have to make any. You don't have to make a satellite for end game. He's going to make a roundy round. This is very common for speedrunners, just to wait and launch. So auto launch, and I usually launch a power pole, just right on the deal. But he's just going to hit it. There it is. Go. It's very funny. There it is. Go. Look at this. 304. Well done. Congratulations, guys. Go follow my buddy Xeno. Great run. 304. Narrowly missed a under 3. Probably a few things to tighten up, and he'll get a easy 259. Well done, Xeno. Nice, very tight base, and good job. All right. Thank you very much for joining me today. Appreciate it. We'll do some more of these. If you like this sort of thing, leave a comment, hit that like button, and hit the subscribe button to support me. And let me know you like these things. I like speedrunning. I like talking about speedruns and doing these sorts of reviews and watching other speedruns. It helps me get better, and hopefully it helps you to be inspired to do a speedrun. So my commentary is if in Factorio, if there's a measure that will help you do a speedrun, it is to look at the achievement list, and if you can do consistently, there is no spoon. It's the #1 achievement on Steam, on the Steam, or the I guess not the #1. It's the least achieved achievement on Steam. As of this recording, 1.4% of players have only 1.4% of players have accomplished it. If you can do that consistently solo under 8 hours, you should speedrun. You should try it. Go to speedrun.com and check out the leaderboard. And any percent, there's lots of different categories you can do out there. If you're watching this, likely you have Factorio already. You should do with your Factorio, go get OBS, either Streamlabs OBS or OBS Studio. Either of those versions are free. You can get OBS, which is free for recording. That's what I'm using to do this. You can flip between scenes. You can put lettering up there. Make sure your submission includes a video, and you record it. You don't have to put yourself on camera. You don't have to put a voice on camera. You can just play the run. Also, Live Split. There's a link down in the description as well. Live Split is one of the handiest tools that you'll use for timing your speed runs. It's got splits. You don't have to use his splits or mine or anyone's. You can go watch others. You can use whatever splits you want, or use none at all, and just have a start when I enter the map and a stop when the victory sign shows. All the rules are listed on speedrun.com. Make sure you're not using in-game time. There's an issue with using in-game time because as your computer slows down, your in-game timer slows down. And you don't want to have your actual rocket time affected by a computer time, because what I could do is I could slow my computer down to 80% and make my moves a little more, or 10%, and make my moves much more carefully and become a tool-assisted run. So it's done in real time, not in game time. So you use a secondary timer called Live Split. That's also free. And then throw it on YouTube. YouTube also is free, and link it in speedrun.com. If you have any questions, hit me down in the comments. Or you can catch me live. My Discord link is in the description as well as my Twitter. You can come catch me live at twitch.tv/clowntown. Link is also in the description. And also, finally, I'll leave you with all my support links are there: Patreon, Discord, donation, all that good stuff. I appreciate all the support. You guys take good care of me. Last thing I'll say: go follow all these speedrunners that I do review: Macross, Anti-Elites, Nephrons, and especially the one we reviewed today, Xeno. He did a great run. As of this recording, he at 3 hours and 4 minutes is a submitted world record for any percent for version 17.66 and above. So congratulations, Xeno. Well done. Thank you very much. Like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.